Hi sir, my name is Divya. My team members are Karisha, Olivia and Joshua. So we'll be presenting about Google Classroom. So what is Google Classroom? Google Classroom is a free web service created by Google for schools to aim to simplify creating, distributing and grading assignments. So for availability tactics in Google Classroom occurs when the services is no longer credible when its specification, customers should observe this failure. So there are three types of availability tactics that is able to of a system to detect and fix a problem, prevent any system failures. Where there's three, the first one is detecting faults, recovery from faults, and the last one is fault prevention, where we have explained all these three in our presentation today. So I'll be talking about the first one on the availability tactics for defecting faults, which is heartbeat. So for the scenario, a teacher of a specific course would want to upload his or her assignments for their students. As you can see, we have put in three images here. The first one actually shows the teacher wants to upload the document. The second one shows where the students and the teacher can see their stream, where it's also considered as a notification in Google Classroom. And the third one is the student also gets notified in their Gmail as well. So for the diagrams, we have two here. The first one is actually when there is a subject, it notifies its availability to the observer. So from that, it moves on and updates the slave node by giving a new task. So this flow goes on in sequence and it repeats again. So for the sequence diagram, the tutor first uploads the assignment into Google Classroom. From Google Classroom to Google Drive, the document is being stored where the students can see back. And then from Google Classroom, they'll notify the students in Gmail and also in their Google Classroom. And at last, the students can actually click on the thing to see and view what is their task and everything. And also, they can see the documents in Google Classroom, which is stored in their Google Drive. Next, I'll pass on the floor to Olivia.
So for this part of the slides, I will be presenting the second point for defecting faults, which is ping and echo. The scenario or example for ping and echo in Google Classroom would be when a tutor giving a link or code to students to join virtual class. There are a few ways for the students to join this class. The first one, as you can see in the first pictures, the first picture, students can join the classroom link by clicking on the link given by the teachers. There will be an option choosing an account to join with. This is in case the laptop has multiple Google accounts. Another way is by students joining the class using the code given as seen in diagram 2. After signing in using the correct account, in the top right corner, click Join Class. By clicking on that, students can enter the class code and will be directed to the class platform as seen in picture 3. Another way is by accepting invite through email, that is Gmail. Students can join the class from email or in classroom, whereby on the class card, click join. For accepting through Gmail, click join and it will direct it to Google Classroom, as can see in picture number 4. So we move on to the next slide. Here we are going to use those two diagrams to show you how this pattern works. So for the first diagram, this process works with the requester and the replier. The requester will request for a channel from the replier, where the replier will reply channel to the requester. This process works in a loop form. And then for picture number 2, this is a sequence diagram for link, and then the picture number 3 is a sequence diagram for code. So that is it for my part. Now we move on to the next presenter, which is Kavisha.
Hi sir, my name is Kavisha Satyakumar. So today I am going to explain the second availability tactics, which is recovery from faults, where I am going to talk about resynchronization. So for resynchronization, we have a scenario here. In a Google Classroom, when students need a second look for their project after the first round of feedback. Thus, a new assignment can be posted in Google Classroom. Students can add from Google Drive the assignment they previously submitted. So when you look at the picture number 1, it shows how the students can resubmit from Google Docs to Google Classroom, and they can exchange files from there. The system of posting a new assignment makes it easy to locate student work in need of feedback. The student documents are added to a new assignment folder in Google Drive, thus allowing teachers to access all of the student documents in once in Google Drive. The files are not removed from the previous assignment folder. In other words, the documents are in both folders in Google Drive and also Classroom. So when we look at the second picture, that is the sample of resubmission work of a project for feedback. Next slide. So since the number of assignments depend on the teachers, if they're asking for resubmission of a specific assignment, they will give it to the same assignment number and add the letter B to it. Thus, what was originally assignment 23, they will ask for resubmission as 23B. If the teacher posts a general resubmission opportunity where students can resubmit any work they have worked on, then the teacher will use the next sequential number. So if you look at the sequence diagram I put there, the user can submit assignment in the Google Classroom, and then the assignment will be added in the Google Drive, and it also can be resubmitted again in the Google Classroom. That's all from me.
Okay, so for the last availability tactic, we will be talking about is fault prevention and which is process monitor. So the scenario is, as Google Classroom is a cloud system which has many processes such as posting assignments and teaching materials, it is important that the processes are completed without failure and are reported to the users properly. So in the diagram, you can see that the source is the process monitor. The stimulus is posting assignments and teaching materials without failure. The environment is runtime. The artifact is Google Classroom. And the response should be does not post and gives notification when fails. And the response measure is the number of assignments and teaching materials posted completely without failure. In the next slide. So to conclude, when designing any system, it's important to consider the vulnerabilities that the system may have. There are many availability tactics which can be used for detecting faults, recovery from faults, and fault prevention. These tactics should be chosen depending on the design needs of the system. Some systems which have sensitive data should consider availability tactics to detecting faults and fault prevention. This ensures that access is only given to the right users of the system. Thank you.